And then I got my brother going, "You stupid!" And then that was the sound of me getting smacked. In case you're wondering what that was. So
not now.
Exactly. Good distinction. I'm glad you put that in there. Yeah. So.
You have now joined the In Couple Podcast Show. Let me introduce our hosts, Laura and Xavier.
Hello, everyone. This is Laura here.
And me, Xavier, again.
Didn't we talk about switching this up at one point?
I don't know. We'll switch it up when we feel like it. And apparently we don't feel like it today. So, here we are in the land of Flora with the Florida. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry. I'm too close to it. I'm moving away from the stand. Okay, here we go. Better. Okay. See, haha. Of course, this chair spins on its own accord.
Mm-hmm. And you need to have your legs up.
I do.
On a spinning chair.
I have a stool to put them on.
Speaking of spinning, we're talking about hurricanes.
Yes. I'm a born and raised in Florida gal, so I've had experiences, I guess, with them since I was a kid, which I learned later on that it's a different kind of experience when you're an adult.
I've been all around when I was growing up. We'll call it. I was in Louisiana. That's probably one of my biggest experiences of seeing, tornadoes, hurricanes, and stuff of that fashion, and stuff like that, and floods.
You were not living there though when Katrina happened.
No, I was not. But I do have a story related to Katrina as well.
Well, we can do that. So where should we start?
You know what? Let's start with you. Let's get some of your stuff out there. I don't know what direction you want to kind of go with this, but we're just going to play it by ear, okay?
Well, we can start with...
How about the present? What's literally going on?
All right, yeah. So we just recently were watching with Dorian. And if you do not know about Dorian, you don't live close to Florida at all.
That or you don't follow hurricanes at all. It's not a part of your life.
Yeah. So Dorian, I've been aware of Dorian for probably a little over a week now. Mm-hmm. Whenever Florida finally was in their 5-day cone kind of thing. And, and that was a while ago. And I was like, oh, well, I should probably keep an eye on this storm. And, a lot can change. These things have a mind of their own.
It feels like that. No one can predict them.
The thing is, they don't have a mind of their own. People say that because they are hard to predict, but there are things that affect them. It's just that there's so many variables that affect them that it's hard to determine exactly what's going to happen. And no two storms are alike. So, one might, react a certain way and the next will react in a completely different way because the current was moving in a different direction that day.
It's moving left one day, moving right. And then it's I don't know what we're supposed to run away, stay here. What are we supposed to do here?
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that our hurricane season goes for a little while, but our peak-ish time is August to November. And the peak of that peak is September from what I've been told.
Some people don't even understand that there is a hurricane season, period.
Yeah.
I
think it starts in June.
Yeah. And
and it goes till November, but we hardly ever really have any, at least in Florida. I don't recall having any in the June, July months. But August and, onward, and, that one definitely.
August, get you ripe and ready for Halloween.
August and September for sure. They're a different kind of scare.
Yeah, exactly. Our definitely want to put out there that our hearts definitely go out to what's going on with
the Bahamas. Yeah, no, that is
if you haven't seen some of the images, it's not looking good.
No,
it's not looking good at all.
It's definitely devastating for them. I don't even know what kind of words. If you can help, there are a lot of charities and if people that are trying to put organizing things
right
together
now
to send supplies to them.
It's a bit early.
Yeah.
So,
they're starting. Yeah. I think the Coast Guard and National Guard has been they're being sent over now. But yeah, right now, the hurricane just finally passed. It was hanging out over them for a day and a half to 2 days. And just dumping water on them and wind and just horrible.
We don't do this too often, but for those who are listening, if you got, the money for a cup of coffee, and it's just that's money enough for a cup of coffee, you've never given anything before, ever, for anything that's ever happened. You know what? Make this your first one. Put your name on, trying to help out the Bahamas.
They're going to need a lot of help.
Exactly. And,
even more so than Puerto Rico from last year, and that was bad.
Yeah.
But this is just going to be, this is just devastating.
Yeah. And it's been a lot of bad. A whole lot of bad.
Yeah, I mean, Irma was bad. And it was a Category 5 too, I believe, when it hit Puerto Rico. But the issue with Dorian is it literally slowed to a crawl. I mean, it hit them at a Category 5, and then it slowed down to 1 mile an hour.
Category 3 is enough to get scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, Category 5.
Yeah, like it had sustained winds of 185 miles an hour when it hit the Bahama area. And gusts were over that. They were like 200 plus.
You do not need a kite to fly yourself.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that
blows houses down. Yeah. And literally, that's what happened. Buildings down.
Yeah, horrible. And then that's not even taking into account the water surges that they had. I believe I read that they had up to like 24 feet.
Yeah,
24 feet of water surges. Like, that's insane.
I mean, and it's really, I guess I don't want to harp on it that much. It's really bad.
Also, I do want to say this too, before we move on probably from this, but I've read some comments where people were like, why didn't they just leave?
And this is a common thing that it's been out there for years that people think this, like you can just get up and go from the Bahamas.
One, they're on an island.
Mm-hmm.
Difficult. Yes, they had plenty of time to evacuate. There was a lot of warning that like, hey, I need to probably head out. But the thing is, like, a lot of times these guys will turn at the last minute. So it's really even when you're 5 days out, there's so much uncertainty that it's like, should I really go? And then
for a large portion of people,
they couldn't afford it.
That's not an option.
Yeah. You've got animals you can't necessarily bring with you, so they stay for that.
Yeah, all those laws are still in place. You can't just, all of a sudden, I have to leave for an emergency. Well, this can't go and this can't go.
Where are they going to go? I mean, not all of them can actually fly to the U.S. because they all can't. Not all of them can come to the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's like, where are they going to go?
So it's not as much of a like, oh well, why don't they do this? It's like there's a multitude of reasons why that's not a possibility.
Well, and then a lot of them stayed in their homes because, again, pets. A lot of emergency shelters won't let you bring your pets in. Yeah. There are very few that will, if any. And
you can't. I don't blame the shelters for that because there is like a reason of just like you're trying to keep as many people as safe as possible. And, you don't know how other people's pets, and you think about thousands of people are coming in here.
Yeah.
Thousands of people, hundreds of pets, thousands of pets and stuff like that. It's hard to control for variables that variables that are hard enough.
Yeah.
And then adding some more random equations in there. So it's really, it's not, I don't want to put this, I want to put this in a way to make people understand. It's not their fault for staying. It's something that it's outside of their realm of control. They're trying to do the best that they can, and this is the result of them trying their best.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of, like we said, there are a lot of variables, and we'll probably discuss our Irma experience from last year because, we had that whole do we stay, do we go thing.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have that so much with Dorian because it was on the other coast. We live on the west coast of Florida. And it was on the East Coast. If it was on the West Coast, it would have been a completely different story for me. I would have probably like let's just go.
Let's go. Yeah, go take a trip. I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know. I know that's probably not a place I want to move to anytime soon. Here's my thoughts on it. I'm going to be 100% honest. I was not looking at Dorian as a threat at all. As far as to us. To others, yes, definitely a threat. Unlike what we had with, what was the hurricane that we ended up leaving from before? Irma.
That was last year.
Yeah, unlike Irma.
Well, that's what I said. Like, Irma was on our coast.
Yeah. There was a shot that I saw from the news station. And again, granted, they put out scare tactics for a reason on it. But they had the eye going directly over where we were kind of living in. Yeah. So, like,
and that was
the Tampa area.
They were projecting it would be a 4 or 5 by the time that it did that.
Exactly.
And yeah, like it would have been devastating. Yeah. And I mean, that was a day or so out. So it was like, at that point, it was like, okay, either we buckle down and we're ready to ride this thing out if it does come over us, or...
Yeah, I mean, we boarded the windows up. We boarded everything up.
Yeah, we were ready for it.
Yeah, but even still, our best case scenario, and I guess technically we did that. We got into our cars. We hit the road. Traffic was horrendous. People were angry at each other, just yelling. And
I mean, gas was... We waited in line for 45 minutes to get some gas.
Your basic necessities are disappearing from a city. Like, you think you have the all the technology and all the environment. Once you get in that area, like, there's no gas stations with gas. There's no extra gas tanks in case you find a place you can store some tanks. We were using battery packs, and the energy was running out to keep our batteries charged so we can follow the GPS.
Yeah.
There were no hotels for a multitude of miles, a multitude of states. And lucky enough, my brother was definitely out there to help us out. Yeah. But we had to drive through 2 different states.
Well, yeah, and we had friends that evacuated, and they went to Atlanta, and then Atlanta got hit harder than like any the other places did. So it was just there are pros and cons to staying and going.
Yeah, exactly.
And we learned that the hard way.
And the funny thing is, like, let's say the worst had happened, like we come back and our house is destroyed.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of damage. At least we're living.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's still a lot of work, a lot of things to pick back up, to start back from square one, to get ready to get up and go.
Well, and it's like, and it's not even an immediate thing. So one, you come back and, okay, where do I sleep while I rebuild? Like,
yeah. Think about the people who they definitely survived. They left the Bahamas. They come back.
Now what? I mean, they have probably no drinking water, no food. Mm-hmm. They have nowhere to sleep.
Locomotion,
money,
cars, gas.
Like there's not like getting around. Even if you've still got water that's going to be standing there, and that water could be very dangerous. I mean, if power lines are down, that water could be deadly.
Think about how many like gas stations around that area that are like down and leaking toxins in the water. That you can't avoid. You have to walk through it.
Well, not to mention, like, if you're not careful, it's like, one, you can't always tell how deep it is. Mm-hmm. There was once, I think I was walking and I didn't know there was a ditch because I was walking in the water. I didn't know there was a ditch, and I went down. I was like, whoa. I mean, I went from ankle deep water to like knee deep water in seconds. And it was like,
And you probably seen a couple of those memes on the internet somewhere with somebody who thinks they're splashing in a puddle and there go. They're all the way down.
Yeah.
But that's real.
But these have broken things in there, your bottles and rakes and shovels and
this isn't
debris.
going to the lazy river at your standard water park or something like that.
Just walking through the water is dangerous because you've got so much debris.
Mm-hmm. Think about the trash and stuff like that that's out there. All that's now
sewage probably,
And not to mention the trees and debris and things that are taken down. So like a lot of things on there. I mean that's one of the reasons. It's like stay or go. It's like it's hard to tell what's exactly the best solution. Not that you're going to protect your house if you stay, but if can you afford to leave? And then if you can't afford to leave, when you come back, you may not be able to afford that.
I mean, you have to. There's just so much preparation that goes into both of it. I mean, okay, so with Dorian, I mean, I saw people start being like, well, it could kind of affect us. It could kind of dump water on us and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go get some extra waters. I had some hurricane supplies. I was like, I'll get some extra waters. I mean, we're pretty far out at this point. This was last week, like mid last week, and I was like, I'll go to Sam's, and I have a Plus membership there, so I was like, I could get there even before it opens to general public. I got there 40 minutes after it opened, and all the water in that store was gone.
Yeah,
it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, I did not think that far out, that many people would be panicking.
And I think part of it was that was
That's
residual.
on the West Coast. It was on the East Coast of Florida.
Yeah. And I think like someone that was like, I was feeling like some of that panic was from the last hurricane, from Irma.
Yes, probably.
And, a lot of people just like, okay, we got to do this now. We got to get this now. We got to, and so everything starts, getting bought up. And actually I did hear about a story about a guy who ordered crates and crates and crates of water. But due to the storm, the shipment didn't come till after the storm would show up. So this guy bought all this inventory, and of course, he lost his money on that deal. And of course, like we're okay now, at least with the new trajectory that it doesn't like it's
with this hurricane. I mean, we're still very early in our hurricane season.
Exactly, and
and that was the thing. Like I went and I got more hurricane supplies, and I did go and find some water and things like that. It was a hunt. But I did find some finally. Those
are tiny little water bottles.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the huge one. Like no, they're little tiny little water bottles.
Those half-size pint little things.
Exactly.
But still, water's water, and it wasn't like marked up or anything. It was a normal price tag for it, and since we're so early in our hurricane season, I'm like, even if we don't get another hurricane scare, it's still, I bought all things that can be used in snacks for our daughter or something, whatever.
My workplace, they kind of got a big, huge scare. Now they closed down the area, but the place where I work at, well, we got to be ready no matter what. So I'm still mosey on in and then getting to work. As simple as that. It's just like, hey, well, I'm here. Building's dark, whatever. So a real peaceful day for me at work. And for what I feel like I predicted what was going to happen. I parked the car. I walk out. I'm going towards the building. Sun's shining. Birds are singing, and it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, we had little spurts of rain here and there today, but I mean, we really got nothing.
I thought we would have got some more rain or something like that. But literally we didn't get much at all.
We got a few rain bands from it. Mm-hmm. Yes, last night and then today a little bit too. But I think we're over with it now. So
yeah,
I mean, there's people on the East Coast that are getting a little bit more rain than we are, but even they're not really.
But that goes to show more how hard it is to predict things like this too.
Yeah, but you want to be prepared for them because I mean these are massive things coming at you.
The point for us because when we were for Irma, we were going to stay.
Yes, we had planned. And my sister and her family were coming up here because it was going to hit them pretty hard too, where they lived, which is about 2 hours south of us.
On the news, they were talking about just put like your name, write your name on your head because so we can identify the body. Really horrible stuff.
Yeah. And the thing is it's different when you're a parent, and you're all of a sudden like, okay, if it was just me, I'd probably stay and not panic so much and just ride it out or whatever. But when you're thinking about okay, there's me, my husband, my daughter, my dog, my cat, and our guinea pig. Oh shit! What do you do?
Yeah, and it's a lot. You notice that a good portion of those weren't even human.
Yeah,
50% of those weren't human.
Yeah, and what do you do? If flood water starts coming in, I guess I'll throw I started thinking about I guess I could throw our dog into one of our storage tubs, things.
Yeah.
We have these blue storage bins that you put a lid on. I put the dog and the cat in there, maybe. The guinea pig. I don't know what I do.
Yeah, it's
it was really rough when you start thinking about worst case scenarios with it, and and Irma could have really been disastrous for us because again it was on our coast. And it was coming at us with it was a pretty massive hurricane too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Irma's size compared to Dorian because Dorian got pretty freaking big too.
I don't know. I do know that there was, oh my goodness, there were so many comparisons between past hurricanes and how big Irma was. Irma was massive.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
And of course, oh my goodness, Puerto Rico. Poor Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
It's just devastating. But one thing I want to say in there is through all this thing we think about the scale of, this could really impact our lives. This thing is coming to me. I got to make decisions. I got to do this, and who knows it's going to last. And when we were leaving, you get to see how many people who are also in the same mindset as you. Yeah. And the roads clogged. Everybody's going the same way.
I mean, 75 north, which is one of the very few ways to go north from the east coast of Florida. And it was just, I mean, you saw on the news and you're going like, okay, there's the likelihood of you finding gas is very little and hard, and you're going to be stuck in traffic. So it's like, okay, so either I stay here and potentially ride out a category 4 or 5 hurricane that
in my car.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I mean, or no, that's what I'm saying. Like in our house, you ride it out or you go into the car trying to evacuate and you could potentially be stuck in traffic as said category 4 or 5 comes at you.
Exactly. Yeah.
With no gas. Like, well, this sucks. I mean, thankfully we had friends that had left like really early and they knew of this other route that was a bit of an off-road. There were people on it too, but not quite as bad as 75 was. And we did have to wait in line for like, I don't know, it was like 45 minutes or something like that for the gas. Do you remember that? Like that was crazy.
And when we mean waiting in line for gas, I mean, there's a lineup of cars. It's a gas station off the beaten path.
So you're waiting in this line, watching all these cars getting gas, not knowing if by the time that you get there, it's going to be out of gas.
Yes. And when we actually got to a gas tank and we actually like finally went through the whole line, gas tanks, while we were there, were being shut down for running out of gas.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I was terrified. I was going like, oh my God, I did not just sit in this line for, and the thing is like, I didn't wait. Like I saw it start going down and we're like, we're still a little bit above half a tank. And I'm going like, I think we should probably stop now.
I remember actually on our way back as we're making the drive, there were like, several cars that they probably ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And they were just sitting on the side of the road, just there.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them. I don't know what they did. But eventually I guess they caught themselves a ride or something like that. But yeah, it's something that happened. A lot of those case scenarios with so many people, somebody's going to bump into that scenario. That one rare scenario you think that, oh, that couldn't happen to me. It's going to hit somebody. And yeah, you can be in it. And let me go ahead and also add in here. When we started leaving for Irma, we left with a full tank of gas.
Yeah.
We also had, I think we had an extra gas tank sitting in our car as well.
No, we bought one on that was on the ride back.
Yes, that's right. Okay, because all the stores were gone. It was all sold out from all the stores. Generators were also out too.
Oh yeah. So I looked up the size difference between Dorian and Irma because I remember like everybody was talking about how big freaking Irma was. Irma was 420 miles across.
420 miles.
Yeah, they said wide, and they said that's about the size of like Texas, and Dorian was 280 miles across, so the size of Georgia.
So still pretty darn big.
Well, yeah, and it was stronger. It got stronger, I think, than Irma did. But yeah, the size. Irma was just like you just watching this massive flipping hurricane come at you, and you're like, fuck.
No, I remember like during it while we were up, we went up to Alabama.
Yeah. And
I remember actually like watching a couple things on the internet, and there was like this meme of this guy going out and surfing.
Oh yeah.
And just like thinking like, oh, that's so humanity. That's so humanity. Of everybody who looks at it and takes it seriously, there's going to be that guy who just doesn't care. who and I would say don't be that guy. I know YOLO, the life is short, but that also means YOLO, life is short, dude. You don't need to progress it any further.
Well, and the biggest, I think, difference between, we're comparing how Irma hit Puerto Rico to Bahamas, and
progress the end is what I meant.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between the two isn't necessarily like, the size or the power of it or anything like that. It's the fact that Irma was actually pretty darn fast. It moved pretty quickly. it kind of it was like, whoosh,
Yeah, they start walking, like where this one slowed down to less than 1 mile per hour.
Well, yeah. That's why I was crossing over. And then after it had finally crossed over the island, it stalled for hours. And it just stayed stationary for hours while the Bahamas was still getting the back end of Dorian. And the back end is from what I've been told, the worst part of it. So it's like, you've got the front half and then you go through the eye and then you got the back half. And from what I've been told, the back half is the worst. And so they got the back half for a long time.
Well, I think there's a logical reason for why the back half of Hurricane is the worst. Is because the front half is destroying all the stuff. Now you're in the eye. And what picks up after is everything that's been destroyed. It's just laid about. It's just shrapnel that's out there. So like, oh yeah, you're talking about like, maybe getting hit by a pole or something like that to, being just shredded by glass or shards or what else is out there from the back half. And that's one of the reasons why, like, it's not over when it passes over you. You still, hunker down, do what you can. Hurricanes are a son of a bitch.
Right? It's a terrifying time. Like, my daughter was asking me, she's like, which one's worse, tornadoes or hurricanes? And it's like, I hear this a lot. People compare them both, and I don't like either.
Yeah.
But I mean, hurricanes technically can give you tornadoes too. So
in a way, I look at like the comparison is one, that's like saying, which would you rather be shot by, a shotgun or a not a BB gun, a regular pistol? Either one can be dangerous if it's aiming the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, hurricanes we watch for, we see it coming. We're watching it slowly and slowly and slowly. And okay, no problem. But when it is coming close to you, and when you're in that like cone of uncertainty, you're going like, okay, it could or it couldn't. It's horrible. You're in that for like days or a week or whatever, where you're like, should I panic? Should I freak out? What should I do? Do I need to leave? Do I need to stay? Do I need to batten down the hatches? What do I do?
The funny thing is, when I was looking at the one with Irma, I think this would have been my deciding factor of whether we hunker down instead of leaving. And when the eye was going over our city, that was okay, leaving. If it had went slightly more, if it just scraped the edge of us, just where it did, or just not look as terrifying as it did, it could have just went against the grain of or the borderline of the city, I would have said stay down, hunker down.
Which, the thing is, like, if we were in a different city, maybe we would have actually stayed, even if it had looked like it was going to hit us directly. Because some cities are able to fare things like that better than others. Tampa, on the other hand, is not one of them. They have done studies where if we ever got directly hit by a hurricane in Tampa, it would be devastating, because it's just not prepared. The way that the harbor and the river and all of it that's laid out is it'd be kind of like, I guess, a dam breaking and just poof,
Exactly. Yeah. For our weird layout of Florida, we have this weird pocket of semi-safety, but that also means it's not prepared for when something hits. It comes down to Miami. No, Miami can definitely get destroyed a bit. A lot of those buildings have this nice, good thing called insurance, and there's a lot of good, safe places you can be if you need to be there. I'm not saying that horribleness could not hit Miami. They certainly could. But if you're going to have the same category of hurricane coming the same direction to you, Miami wouldn't be a bad spot to be in. You definitely want to hit a shelter regardless, but they're going to be a little bit more prepared for it.
I think the East Coast probably is more prepared. The East Coast of Florida is more prepared for it, because they're more likely to get hit. Whereas the West Coast were a little bit less likely. I mean, even Irma, for the longest time, they were saying, oh, it's going to hit the East Coast, going to hit the East Coast. And then it decided to come up the West Coast. And we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was I don't know. But tornadoes I don't like either, because I've told plenty of people I would never, ever live in Tornado Alley. I just won't do it, because the idea of these things being able to just pop out of nowhere and completely destroy things with no warning, no, that's terrifying too. I don't like seeing the thing coming, but at the same time, it's better to see it and be prepared than not.
Here's an easy one. The best storm you can have,
is not one.
Well, I was going to say there's a brainstorm. That's the best storm you can have. But realistically, the best storm you can have is a snowstorm. Just make sure you got a strong roof and you're taken care of.
I don't know, snowstorms. You've never been through really bad snowstorms.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I have.
Colorado does not count.
I remember being pushed backwards with like stalactites of ice pointing directly back at me.
No, I mean like major negative, degrees kind of snowstorms.
Okay, yes, the guy gets really, really cold.
Yeah, that's where snowstorms are the worst. It's their freezing temperatures. That is the problem.
Yeah. But if you can actually stay hunkered down in your place, I mean, granted, you may have like
warm.
Yeah, exactly. You may have like a city full of ice, but if you can stay warm where you're at, have all your supplies, whatever, hunkering down is the best thing you can do. And really, even though it's bad, you can have yourself a nice, lovely, quiet evening from a snowstorm. I would say if you're going to have a storm. I mean, a Category 5 snowstorm.
I wonder what like sandstorms are like.
Oh no!
Are they bad?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't really know much about sandstorms, other than they can come out of nowhere for pretty quickly.
I mean, snow and ice. I mean, they are pretty hard.
I mean, I would not want a sandstorm. I'm telling you, I hate the beach because of sand.
Yeah,
and I live in Florida.
Just imagine, like, you ever seen like a sand, like something that sands a brush sand? I can't think we call it when you like brush or clean stuff with sand or whatever, like with trees or whatever. Just imagine having that push at you. That's like 50 miles per hour.
Yeah, but if you're inside.
If you're inside, yeah, but
isn't that the same thing as like a snowstorm, where as long as you're inside somewhere and warm, you're okay?
But imagine that's hitting.
But that does come at you pretty fast, so it has a lot of wind and stuff.
It's not like
right?
water where it can splash and wet your house. This is like literally physical hard particles. They're tiny particles that are going to shred through the glass. They're going to, etch through the walls, put little cracks or holes in it. You're going to get dust that seeps into your house from all kind of secret areas. So they're still pretty bad too.
Although, I mean, in all honesty, from what I've seen with like firestorms and stuff like that,
Ooh.
I would probably take a hurricane and tornado over that. It's like, water, you still have that likelihood of being able to survive it. But if the fire comes at you, like, forget it. You're done. You're toast, literally.
Yeah. Ooh, this has been a very morbid show.
So maybe we should talk about some of our stories, or should we talk first about like what we do to prepare for?
What would your average Floridian do when preparing for a hurricane?
Well, here's what I think I loved. So I went to Sam's and they were out of water, right?
Okay.
So then it's like I started looking around and like going like, okay, so what are people getting? I think like, okay, I'll get some Gatorade, right? Like Gatorade's good. It's still kind of hydrating and things like that. So I got some Gatorade.
I'm happy we got Gatorade because I love Gatorade.
I know. But yeah, it's not something I normally buy. It's kind of like the Pop-Tarts that I got too.
Exactly.
Like my hurricane supply kit includes Pop-Tarts, and not something I normally buy ever.
We're going to get fat off for surviving.
But anyhow, so the thing I thought was hilarious is as I started going to the checkout and stuff with my Gatorade and, my other like reasonable kind of things and stuff, I see all these people, and instead of water, because they're out of it, they have like beer and wine.
That's the average way of preparing, like out of water. Oh, my beer. I'm going to give me some more beer.
I know. I thought about getting some, and I was like, no, we already have some beer. We're good.
Yes, we do have beers. Just in case, like, oh my God, I am thirsty. Yingling, yes. Yeah. Budweiser,
but
yes.
Yeah, that is definitely, it's not just water that goes out. You go to liquor stores, and I'm sure that they get sold out of some stuff too during. That hurricane party thing is not just a joke.
Yeah,
it's a legit thing.
Oh my goodness. I think in a way, like Sony's put clips of actual hurricane parties and what actually happens there. It is what it is. The average person, I think, here in Florida, when something happens, there's a standard. You'll get water if you can. Yeah. Drink some booze and whatnot if you're at the store. If you need to hightail it, most don't. And that's how it works for most areas, because there's a lot of your life tied in that area. And it'd be better to just, well, if this skips over, I can continue like nothing even happened. Maybe some brush on the roads, whatever, then I can still get back in my car and, take care of what I need to take care of. Yeah. And there's a huge benefit of just not being that guy who left the state, because you're there. You're ready to go back to work. You're ready to make your money. To do what you can.
Well, yes and no. It depends, because with Irma, you were the only one that was able to work. Because you weren't, because we had left.
Well, yeah, I am in that weird the situation where I can work from remotely.
Because you had internet, whereas the people who had stayed, our power was out. Were over in Tampa for a while for a lot of people, and so they didn't have internet. You know,
I didn't hear about the coffee shops that were full of people just kind of lingering outside the shop and
trying to get internet.
Exactly. I got to make it in on time. I got to show them in on time, for those professions. But most people don't have those professions. So most people hunker down because if they leave, they can't do that.
Yeah.
So, plus, you got kids, other stuff. And what I mean by life, there's other situations in life that I don't think people think about. There's the whole weird baby mama drama and stuff like that. Maybe you and a significant other and your child are separate or whatever, but you're trying to, have this weird situation and there's this weird back and forth, and that sometimes holds you back. It makes no sense from a person outside, but it makes sense for that person who's inside that weird situation.
Or maybe you don't have a car that is possible to leave in, really. Like, there are a lot of vehicles that, even ours, like when we saw Irma was coming, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go get some new tires and stuff, because I needed some new tires.
And not everybody can make that decision. Or just like you see everybody, you find things, okay, we should leave. You look around, let me go fill my gas tank. Nobody has gas. At that point, it's been decided for you. You don't have what you need to leave.
Yeah.
It's not possible. And when I mean like there's no gas, I mean like the city is out of gas.
Yeah.
The entire city.
When like Irma last year, I remember like even the like gas stations nobody ever goes to because they look scary. They were out of gas.
Yeah, one that's not too far away from us. That one, it just looks like a place that it just looks bad. It just looks really bad.
It's the kind of place you use your cash and not your card.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay, another thing to take care of. You get your supplies and whatnot. Now, some supplies that I don't think most people think about getting is one is a really good one, and that is a hatchet.
Oh yeah.
or hatchet, an axe, or something like that. Because let's say debris does fall, something physical happens to your domicile, and someone's in trouble. That's your way of getting to them. It's a rescue device.
Yeah, I recently too read the getting a whistle. Like, I never thought about that.
Yeah,
and that's so that you can signal for help and stuff. And it's like, that makes sense. But obviously most people do the flashlights and the batteries, and you're supposed to have like a radio that's battery powered radio.
Yeah,
and which we have all those basic things. But there's a lot of like oddball kind of things.
Also, medication. It's something that people don't think about. Before, it all happens or goes down, good time to fill up on your medication, especially if you're a person who needs to be on meds for whatever reason. But even if something light, go ahead, get that medication. You want to be in as stable as you can be in a panic state.
And, one of the things that I had from Irma from last year, I looked up and I did the whole like checklist thing. Like, what do I need to do? And so like some of the things that came up were like, making sure that you have all of your paperwork, birth certificates, social security cards, things like that in a plastic bag.
That will
on your person.
Yeah. That stuff, it sounds stupid, but you are literally saving days or months of work if that stuff is gone, because that's hard to reproduce, hard to prove that you are you and stuff like that. Taking
a picture of your property and stuff before anything happens, that will help with insurance and stuff,
which is very important for especially people in Florida and other hazardous areas. A lot of people have, restored their place over and over again due to that kind of situation. So I think something else that I don't think that people think about is, wood planks. Well, regular, good old fashioned, and maybe some custom wood planks, so you can cover your windows.
Yeah.
You should have these
or hurricane shutters if you can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. If you can afford hurricane shutters, then yeah, you're good. But if you can't, get some plywood, custom cut to your window size. They got little clamps for your windows. You can plug them up. Yes, you may leave scratches on your precious paint, but scratches are easier than a window. So, if possible.
Yeah, and if you're not from Florida, or even if you are, the whole point of doing the plywood on the windows, it's not just to not break the windows, which is obviously important, because glass and debris and crap like that. But the thing is, when one of your windows breaks in, that makes it more likely for the wind to then take your roof off.
Yeah,
there's a pressure thing, and if you lose your roof, your whole house is done.
Yeah, well, past the roof too, it's just like you also get before you get to the roof level destruction. Let's say you get the wind is coming extremely fast, and now you have a broken window. It's now blowing all in your house. That's just cycloning everything. It's just, and if you have the wood plank there, that doesn't happen. If it's not there. Yeah, if you have TVs or whatever in there, your desk, your bed or whatever, it's just getting all that debris, rocks, dirt, and glass and whatever is all.
So there are certain ones that it doesn't matter. Like the 4 or 5. You still put your planks up because you never know. Maybe it will help. But those ones they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, in worst case scenario, for some reason you're out and you don't have if you don't have wood boards, you probably have a mattress. If you're hunkering down, that's a good thing to put near a window to make sure that.
Well, they always say that too with tornadoes. Like, push comes to shove, the worst thing happens. Get your mattress, get in a bathtub, and put the mattress over you. Yeah. Because if you get picked up, the mattress protects you from the debris. And if you get picked up, you're a little bit more secure if you're in a actual tub.
Yes. So I think that covers at least most of what I can think of. Oh, well, yes. One more thing. Get yourself good battery chargers for your cell phones. And I mean, good ones.
That was one of my things that I charged them all up.
Yes, the ones that say solar powered and charged with the sun.
We have one that's solar powered.
Yes, and they're complete and utter bullshit. I have set mines out in the sun, but there's also a scientific reason why. You have to angle it just right in order to get the maximum sun rays charge. It has to be at exactly good position. Just being a 10% off reduces how much charge you get by 75%, which is already not exactly an excellent charge anyhow. Don't bother. It's not going to help you in this kind of scenario. Get yourself a solid battery charger. You can get them at Walmart or whatever. And because when you need to hit the road or get information or call someone, your cell phone is your lifeline. Now let's get into stories.
Okay.
You go. Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I will tell you a story about back when, I guess, not really, the worst one, but it's when I kind of first started understanding that this was a thing. I was in Louisiana, and I was on base, good old Fort Polk. I'm not sure what kind of state it's in now, but and I remember we were, told to hunker down. There was this big storm coming. Everybody's watching it. I was a kid and have no clue what's going on. And I remember I was just spacing out playing Mortal Kombat of all games. And all I remember is I was just hearing it sounded like that was gunshots going bang, bang, bang. And it was just like, what the heck was that? And then, of course, my Mortal Kombat, shut off. And then I had to pay attention because okay, what's going on? I can't play my game anymore. I go outside and I guess a lot of the electrical wires were popping against each other from the wind or debris that was hitting it. And we were in it. The trees were just all leading to the left side. They're going nuts and crazy. And the first thing I do is oh, wow, that's cool. I go downstairs open the door, walk outside, and immediately as I open the door and I go there, like the door just starts snatching itself back, and I'm trying to muscle my way, and you can see like I'm got my arms like crossed, and I've got myself between me and the door, like I want to see coolness, and then I got my brother going, "Are you stupid?" And then that was the sound of me getting smacked. In case you're wondering what that was. So
not now.
Exactly. Good distinction. I'm glad you put that in there. Yes, I was not smacked just now. Oh God, yeah.
It could have been taken that way.
Could have been. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. I was reprimanded back then when I was a kid for opening a door during a hurricane situation. But nothing broke, whatever. But I remember that was like my first experience. He slapped his hand,
by the way. Now
I'm really good at.
It sounded really good. Like it was like, wow, I can't do that kind of a slap. Definitely not me.
It's a technique. There's a technique. Comes a Xavier school of slapping. I'll show you all the skills.
How old were you then?
I think I was 9. I think I was 9 years old when that was happening. Because I remember like there was a football game or something like that. I was horrible at football game, but I was really good at running away from the ball. So while I wasn't that good, so
yeah. See, most of my childhood stories, like I don't really have anything like that, even though I lived in Florida, because anytime there was a hurricane that was threatening us, that would have been that bad, I got sent elsewhere. Most usually to Minnesota with my grandparents. And yeah. So.
Oh well, actually, I do remember there was one time where we did evacuate from Louisiana. And that was the first time that was when I saw my first car crash. It was just a couple of guys, or the traffic was back bumper to bumper on a stretch of road, and this was back then. So having those nice precious lights didn't quite exist. Not everybody had those blue bright bulbs, so it was just complete darkness. And one guy tried to swerve around another guy and just right to his rear end. And that's a bad place to have a crash too. So also drive safe during these times too, or you'll be ended up going through the storm whether you like it to or not. It's just,
yeah. I mean, at that point, like, who do you call? Like, you can call the police, or
I'm a little busy. You're gonna, I don't know. I hope you got floaty devices.
But yeah, I mean, like, I guess for me, most of mine were like experiences with worrying about my parents. I have multiples of those, my parents, because they would send us up to Minnesota, but they didn't always come with us. Sometimes they would stay, like, I mean, my dad had his boats and his business and stuff. And so he would always want to stay and kind of like, make sure it's okay.
Oh yeah. Business is a strange glue, especially if you're in a position of ownership of a business. Especially small businesses, more so than big businesses. I mean, you can just, do what you want. The big businesses, just face facts there. But small business owners, I mean, they're really roughing it out. This is their livelihood that's on the line.
Well, not to mention there are some businesses too that, like, after a storm comes through, they want to be able to open quickly because it very well could be profitable. My dad owned a company that Mako that,
think about a repair shop.
Yeah.
After a storm.
Auto body repair and stuff. Like, yeah, if this thing doesn't completely wipe out all vehicles, there are going to be quite a few dings and dents and stuff that need to be fixed.
Yes. So in case you ever wonder too, like, yes, they are open. They are they are open after those storms for that very reason, because
it's like restaurants are kind of like that too. Grocery stores, because people need the Home Depot probably.
I remember when we were in Colorado and they had a big blizzard, and the same day there was these restaurants where people couldn't get back on the roads. It was super slick, black ice warnings, all this kind of stuff was on there. But I think it was Ruby Tuesdays or one of those places. Yeah, they were right there and open because they knew everybody else going to be closed. We're going to make profit today.
Hotels, they're another one that, like, when Dorian was coming in and threatening the coast and stuff, there was this guy who owns like a chain. I don't remember which chain of or hotels it was, but he was like, yeah, for $55 or whatever, you can come and stay here, evacuate to our hotel and bring your pets, all that's waived and things like that, and I mean, you think like that's really cheap, right? But most likely they're empty right now because nobody's going to be staying in them. So if you fill every room in that hotel at $55,
your average hotel has about like 160 rooms.
Sure.
So I mean, and think about it. Who's going to go visit a hotel
when your hurricane's threatening?
Exactly. So it is a profitable idea, but it's also one of those profitable ideas that works for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it makes them look good.
Yes, exactly. $50 isn't that hard to grab, and I mean, you'll do what you can if you,
especially if you have your pets and stuff too, because like we had talked about before, not a lot of shelters, will take them, and there's a lot of like conditions too, like you have to have a very specific kind of crate for your animals to be in. You have to have all the vaccinations and, everything up to date. And you have to have those on your person, so it's like, how many people really keep all that stuff on them? Even if your dog is up to date on all its shots and stuff, you're not necessarily going to have that paper with you or available, so. And, I mean, not to mention not everybody's going to have a crate for their animal.
Yeah. And on the last part I want to touch on is like what you do when you get back. You get back home. Hopefully your home is still a home. Or if it's not, you want to get to your insurance as soon as possible. Start going through that process. Flashlights, batteries. I hope you got those. Those will probably should also be in your list too. Because you're going to need those, kind of look through your stuff where you have
gloves.
Gloves, yes.
I mean, when we came back from Irma, we were one of the very few that had electricity still. That I heard a lot of people that were out for like 3 to 14 days, even in the Tampa area, and
if you can take a break from your job when you get back, and even though it's weird for some places, it's worth it. Take that time, make sure you get it right sooner than later, because there will be you want to get ahead of that flood of people. There's going to be a flood no matter what. You want to get ahead of that flood, being as close as you can to be in front of those lines as possible. To make sure
you're prepared.
Exactly.
You have those pictures already that you took before the storm.
Exactly. We're now in the technology where you can have it all stored in the cloud, in somebody's cloud, because all that kind of fun stuff. But I think that is a good place to start making a close to it. Any final statements that you'd like to make?
I mean, I guess it's just when it comes to any kind of natural disaster like that, you just have to try to be as prepared as possible and make the best decision you can at the time. And do not, be like, well, those people should have made a different decision.
Yeah.
It's very
There's
hard.
a human factor to this.
It's very hard when you're in it. There are a lot of factors, and it's scary. It's and then even when you do make that decision to finally evacuate, it's not free and clear. It comes with its own problems and dangers. Yeah,
that was a lot of struggle when I was there. I
mean, we had a place we were getting to, but we didn't know if we were going to be able to make it because of gas, like being out, or traffic.
Yeah. And I remember like the weird kind of place where we needed to make a stop so we can get some food, and it was just like battery's dead. I'm actually like, hey, can I use your charger or whatever? You're in a humbling spot in your life, and no matter how you feel, I don't care if you make $100,000 or more. When you're in that situation, not everybody has the means to provide for you. You have those at your house, not on you. You can't carry everything. And what I would say, my takeaway on this is, understand you're human. You're gonna make mistakes.
Other people are human too.
Exactly. Do the best you can, and if you can help a friend out, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Or even just another human being.
Yeah. And again, as a reminder, hey, if you got that cup of coffee there, you don't mind sparing that cup of Joe, I want you to give it to somebody else. Give it to somebody over in the Bahamas right now. They really need your love. I wish I had all the links and stuff like that, but I may, since I'm going to be uploading this online, have those prepared for you down below. And thank you for listening this far into our podcast. Let us know if you have any suggestions. Trust me, our ears are against the wall waiting to hear for more. Something ahead, I had a lovely conversation. It was while I was playing VR chat with Marshmallow, aka Poison Sugars, on the game. And it was about vaping. So I think I'm kind of interested in taking the reins on next week and talking about that more. but I will be talking about that on the podcast stream on Twitch with Xavian TV with the Z, not an X this time. And in case you're interested, come and join us. But until then, thank you so much for listening and take it easy.
See ya!